Hello and welcome to night 4 of our 12-day 5th grade math review. Tonight we are looking at 3 problems that all have to do with decimal division. If you have any questions about them, please feel free to ask them in the chat. So tonight we're going to start with something that seems like a fairly obvious question. This is number 19 on the 2017 STAR release test. But it's not necessarily as easy as it seems because there are no keywords that we would typically associate with division in this particular question. It says the length of a piece of yarn is 19.2 units. That's the only number we have besides our number 4. We have 19.2. So that's this right here, this entire length of yarn, 19.2, and it's cut into 4 smaller pieces that are the same length. That's going to be very important. So that's what these hops are supposed to be. So imagine it's like a number line and you made 4 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which expression represents the length of each smaller piece of yarn? Well, in each option is going to be one of our 4 operations. We can either multiply, we can subtract, we can divide, or we can add. So let's come back to 2 things that are going to help us. Which expression represents the length of each smaller piece of yarn? So when we are looking at operations that make things smaller, unless we're using a fraction or a decimal, multiplication is never going to make it smaller. Multiplication always makes it larger unless you're multiplying by a fraction or decimal, which we're not. This is multiplying by a whole number right here. Addition always makes our number bigger unless we happen to be adding a negative, and you'll be doing more of that in 6th grade next year. So really, if we want to make something smaller, we've got 2 options. We can either subtract, that makes it smaller, or we can divide. Now we need to come back to this other item that I boxed up here. The 4 smaller pieces were the same length. They were equal groups. And whenever we are looking at equal groups, that is always a term that we use when we are either using multiplication or division. Multiplication and division only work when they are equal groups. And so since we've already knocked out multiplication, this is going to be the answer C. We are going to divide 19.2 into 4 equal groups. Let's just go ahead and do that to make sure we can perform that task. 4. When we divide that into 19.2, when you see a decimal in the dividend right here, all you do is just bring it back up into the answer bar, the quotient bar. That's all you have to do with decimal division. If you have a decimal in the divisor, that's when something different happens. But in this case, we're dividing by a whole number, so it's not that big of a deal. 4 does not go into 1. 4 goes into 19 4 times. So that's going to be 16. That's a remainder of 3. Bring down the 2. Forget this decimal. It's already up here in the quotient bar. So just go 4 into 32 is like normal. And your answer is going to be 4.8. If we want to double check, we can use the inverse operation. That's 4.8. Inverse of division is multiplication. 8 times 4 is 32. And 4 times 4 is 16. Add that 3 is going to be 19. Now, it looks like my answer is 192. If you were watching last night or if you did the problems yesterday, you know that whenever you multiply a decimal, however many digits are behind the decimal in the factors, in this case we just have 1 decimal in the 1 factor, then that's how many digits need to be behind the decimal in the product. So the answer is going to be 19.2. So that's fairly simple. So let's get rid of this and let's move to something maybe a little bit more difficult. We'll see. So this was actually problem number 1 on our 2017 release STAR test. And it reads like this. Amber saved a total of $3.20 over 5 weeks. She saved the same amount of money. So whenever we see this keyword here, the same amount of money, and that is going to let us know that we are dealing with equal groups. We are dealing with 5 sets of the same amount of money. So that's what we want to keep in mind, this equal group. So that's going to be our keyword that's going to give us either multiplication or division, equal groups. How much money did she save each week? Well, our total is going to be $3.20. So I'm just going to drop our dollar sign here, call it 3.20. And she saved the same amount in each week. So if we're doing equal groups and we know that the total is 320, then that means what we need is, let me draw a strip diagram for us. So we've got $3.20, and what we know is we've got 5 equal groups. And the question is how much is in each of these equal groups? And so we have 5 equal groups of who knows what, and that's going to make 320, which means we're going to need to divide. So let's divide this. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and erase that 0. We really don't need it. We're just going to call it 3.2. 3.2 looks weird as when we have money. We would want to make that 3.20. But when we're using decimals, we don't need the 0.20. All we need is the 0.2. So let's divide that by 5. 5 does not go into 3. Remember, the decimal goes straight up on our decimal bar here. Good to see you back, Adrian. I was hoping you'd make it here tonight. So 5 does not go into 3. So let's go ahead and put a 0 here. You always want to put a 0 in front of the decimal point. So 5 goes into 32, and that's just going to be 6. And so 6 times 5 is 30. We have a little bit of remainder 2. But in 5th grade, we really don't do remainder 2. That's more of something you would do in 3rd grade or 4th grade. Honestly, what we're going to do is, since it's after decimal, we can always add a 0. So we can just add that 0 back in. I guess we did need that 0. 5 goes into 24 times, so it looks like 0.64. Remember, this is money, and so it's 64 cents. So your answer is C. Now, here is something that I would like you guys to help me with, and you can either leave it in the chat, or when this posts to my YouTube channel, you can just comment on the video. What I like to do on each of these problems is figure out how they got the wrong answer. They added instead of multiplying. They divided instead of multiplying. I've got no idea how anyone would come up with this answer or this answer or this answer. They're really just not anywhere close to the correct answer. So if you can figure out a way that you can do this problem wrong by either doing a fact wrong, using the wrong operation, and how you get to these questions, these answer selections, just let me know. Because they never choose just random answers. They always do everything right except for one tiny little thing that they mess up, and that's how they get all the incorrect answer choices. And they usually figure out what the most common mistakes are, and they put those in there. But I just can't for the life of me figure out what they did to get these strange incorrect answers. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go to our last one. I do know what they did to mess this up. This is our last problem for this evening. Number 33, Miss Sykes paid a total of $95.40 for a 12-month magazine subscription. She paid these, look at this, same amount each month. That means we have equal groups. What amount did she pay each month? So we're breaking down our $95.40. We can make one of those strip diagrams if we wanted to, but I think by this point we're pretty sure it's going to be division. Now the only thing that's slightly different with this is we have a 2-digit divisor, but besides that, everything else is going to be the same. So we're going to put our decimal point, it moves straight up. It's not like multiplication to where you have to count how many digits are behind the decimal in the factors. In division, the decimal point always just goes straight up. Now, I really wish they would have just added 60 cents, because this would have been really easy. I know 12 times 8 is 96. We are really close to 96, but we're not quite. So we're going to have to go to 7, and we know our answer is going to be close to 96. So 7 times 12, that's 84. And that answer is going to be 11. Adrian, I see your response there. You think they are just random answers? I think they did something to get those wrong answers on number 1. I just can't figure it out. They typically won't give you just 4 random answers. But I could be wrong. Who knows? So 95 minus 84 is 11. we're going to bring this 4 down. And so 12 is going to go into 114. I'm going to see if 9 works. If 9 doesn't work, I can change it down to 8. But it does look like it's going to work. 9 times 12 is 108. So that's just going to be 6. Let's bring this down here, and that's going to be 5. So we've got $7.95. We've got nothing left over, so that's going to be my answer. So you see here, our answer is A. And so you see what we did here is for some reason they just added 1 cent. They just changed this 5 to a 6. But I bet you can figure out how we got a C and how we got D, because those are a little bit more of a giveaway. Take a look at C. That number is so huge. 1,144.80. What that is someone was looking at the equal groups that they see right here, the same amount each month, and they just chose the wrong operation. I won't do it for you because it'll take way too long. We did 3-digit by 2-digit multiplication last night, but if you did 795 times 12, guess what you'll get? 1,144.80. So someone did all that work, they used the wrong operation, and that's how they get this right here. Now, how do we get this? Well, take your 9540 and add the 12. Now, make sure when you add the 12, 12 does not have a decimal. So if the decimal is not there, you always put it after the ones place to make sure you line it up correctly. If you want, we can put 2 zeros there and take a look at this. This is how you get the 10740. So these two I get because they just used the wrong operation. We added here, we multiplied here. This was really close. They just made the 5 into a 6. But that's all we have for this evening. If you have any further questions, you can put it in the chat, or when this posts to my YouTube channel, you can just comment on that there. There is no math task for tomorrow. This is a 12-night task, or 12-night review, and it's going to be 3 weeks of 4 nights each. So it's Monday through Thursday. So we are done with 1 week tonight. Our next challenge in our next video will be on Monday, March 30th. I hope to see you all there.